This is TWiT.
So 7.1 is here. Is it all you hoped it would be? Let's go through a quick run through of features. Some cosmetic improvements. I haven't really looked for a whole bunch of them, but you can turn off the swooping thing in more applications, which is nice because that the motion always. You notice now I don't have so much swooping as I did before. I always turn that off. Yeah. New thing in Siri where you press the button to get Siri to talk. Normally you talk and then you stop talking after you stop talking. It does this search, right?
Wow.
I don't know why it said that. So now you can press Invoke Siri and keep holding it. It will continue to listen even if you stop talking. Mm. That's actually nice for people who like to think while they dictate.
I have to do that often.
Or if you're like in a noisy room and a lot of people are yelling and you want it to stop listening.
Right. Yeah. I felt like frequently I felt rushed by Siri. Like, come on.
It's the opposite of always listening from Google.
Yeah, right. Right. Siri only listens while you hold the button down. And now it's going to take all of that as dictation. So I think that's a nice feature, kind of unexpected. Did you know about that, Rene, from your beta testing with 7.1?
I did, and I like the fact that it's such a contrast from Google's approach. In a perfect world, I'd be able to hold down and say always listen, and it would have that as an option. But I like that, one is always listening, and one will only listen when you expressly toggle a physical button, and there is no chance of accident.
Yeah, I think that's good. What else is new? Well, we know more resprings, right? Have you noticed? I haven't seen many, or any, actually, since the upgrade.
I haven't had any resprings in a month, in 2 months, maybe.
Oh, you've been using 7.1 for a while. So it does not push it, at least not yet. So you're going to have to go to your system, general, and then in general, the software update button, and then it will tell you 7.1 is available.
What was really funny is that not only was there no gold master for this, they just dropped the public release right away. But if you had the beta and you went to software update, it would let you update from the beta to the release version, which I don't remember happening previously.
What else?
It's faster. It's a little snappier. Like some of the I think some of the transitions are faster.
I think they shortened a lot of the transitions. They really shaved off some of the sharp edges of this thing. One of the things I noticed almost immediately is that now when you pull down the search box from the top or pull up the system tray from the bottom, now there's actually sort of a visual thunk when it's in place, so that you don't think, oh, do I need to keep scrolling it? Is it only halfway in position?
Ah, you're right. I get a little, yeah, that's good.
They finally gave us list views and calendar. They supposedly have fixed that problem with Gmail. We will see if that is actually true or not.
I'm a little annoyed they didn't fix my little pet peeve. See, when you pull up the system notification, it darkens the back row, which makes it very hard to know what you're doing with the, slider there.
So apparently accessibility is the word we use for, we screwed that up, but we'll let you unscrew that if you want manually. So one of the things you can do now is actually change the translucency so that it's almost opaque now. Now you can... there are a lot of different settings like that where petty annoyances that you might have had are now fixed. You can also turn off parallax in certain situations, again through accessibility, and those are definitely accessibility features. But I think that 9 out of 10 people who use them are going to be, oh, thank God, I always hated that translucency. It's like operating a phone through a shower door, and I never liked that.
Where is accessibility?
They also managed to screw up a feature that it's a subtle feature. If you like to type letters with capital letters, sometimes now they've basically made it so that it's impossible to guess whether the shift key is engaged or not.
That was in direct response to me, wasn't it? Let's see. All right, let me go.
It was worse in the beta. They fixed it slightly, but it's still completely impenetrable.
All right, so let's do a little typing. So now when I press the caps lock, well, that's better, isn't it?
No. Well, what do you think is lock? What do you think the caps is on or off?
Well, I never know because it's always uppercase. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, wait a minute. So that is caps lock. White is caps lock. Gray is not. Oh, crap.
White is capital. Gray is non-capital. Double tap with a tiny line underneath is caps lock.
Oh, screw you, Apple. Just screw you.
It used to be blue. It used to be so easy to see.
We're done.
It's so easy. Every other operating system does this. If you're in uppercase, show uppercase keys. This is not a typewriter. If you're in lowercase, show lowercase keys. This is not a typewriter.
I was really surprised when I fired that up and saw that, because that's not a. If you
made it worse.
If you want to argue about translucency, that's a long 2-day discussion you have at a corporate retreat, and there's no right answer. But why did they make something that is so obviously confusing on such a front and center feature? That is so weird.
And again, it is better than it was 2 betas ago. 2 betas ago, it was impossible for anyone to know what state it was in.
You couldn't even know.
Now it's just disturbing.
I think they do this to annoy me. I'm taking this personally.
It used to be blue, worked fine. Nobody had a problem with it.
Oh, I had a problem, but now it's worse.
Yes.
Okay.
Then
waiting for 7.11.
Then somebody who has an office that's shaped like a pyramid said, wait a minute. A blue color is not indicative of the design intent of that schema. You need to stick to this moniker. Like, oh, man.
I just don't
understanding this.
We actually wrote a how to tell on iMore yesterday, how to tell what state your shift key is in, because nobody could tell.
Should not need an article.
I was so embarrassed.
Shouldn't need an article. What else is changed?
There's new telephone screens on the not the iPad, but the iPhone. The way you answer the phone is now much better. It got rid of those big clunky rectangles, and you now have elegant little circles. And there's a new slide to answer the phone animation that all looks very nice.
They've also added they also added what I must think is a privacy feature now. When the phone rings, it doesn't fill the entire screen with the picture of the incoming person. Now it does a little bit more discreetly, so that everybody at the table doesn't know. Oh, so that's not your wife? Why is she holding up this picture that says "I love you, Josh"?
She's quite lovely, isn't she? And young.
It also fixes the Touch ID decay. And there's a few people who it rendered Touch ID useless for on 7.1, but that's the vast majority. For most people now, they no longer have that decaying Touch ID fingerprint issue. It just keeps working, which is a good fix.
Yeah. So all of this you've seen because you've been using the beta.
Yes, and iPhone 4 performance is greatly improved. It's now usable.
Yeah,
though not back to 6 in a lot of cases. So it's closer.
Yeah, well, I mean, like if you were bottom of the update totem pole, if you were the last supported device, it's always been fairly horrible. Like the iPhone 3G, it took 2 or 3 updates to make that device usable. It took 6 months to get iOS 7.1 out, so it's basically the same time frame. But it's now I put it on mine yesterday, and it's perfectly usable now. It's not an iPhone 5. It's still it's got the processor it had the whole time, but you can actually use it as a phone now, which is nice.
It's awesome to be able to use a phone as a phone.
It was before, like you could use it before, but you had to practice your Buddhist breathing techniques. You had to take a moment. You had to, if you were the dude, you had to abide. But now, most people shouldn't have a problem.